Right, this is going to be another episode of Hot Take Point Made, even though it has been a long time. All I'll say is this, like, in theory, in the interest of teamwork, I should just say, you know, they come out when they come out, and when they should, you should be grateful for that. But all I'll say is I'm available to schedule all the time, so, you know, and I just do like a million podcasts every week. So all I'm going to say is, you figure out why the show wasn't done. But anyway, nice to always be joined by my regular co-hosts here on the show. I will say as well, you know what, every now and then, Maui, what we have to do is just like, because he comes from that hard Balkan background where they probably never even fucking gave him a pat on the back for anything in his life. We have to give Kassad the occasional compliment or little treat, right? So I will point out that his, at the time, ludicrous haterism against NA, that like Asian CS was better than NA. I can't lie. That one is, that, at the moment, that's looking pretty good. I can't lie. That's, right now, he is cooking with that one. Like, it was a while ago, and it was mainly just to hate on like Liquid or something, but it's looking pretty good. Mongols is pretty good now. You sort of did get that one. We'll give you that one, Kassad. That turned out to be a pretty good take.
I can see things into the future. Okay. I mean, by now it's obvious, right?
Lycadia top 20. Lycadia top 20.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Like, there's still 6 more months. Yeah, but that one is a bad one. But the thing is, like, the thing is, like, Mongols were such an easy thing to pick on, because, like, you can easily see that the way they were progressing as a team, you know. And obviously, to add to that point was NA being shit. On top of it, like Liquid and Complexity and Furia, and you know, just like it kind of helped my cause. But yeah.
Okay, so who's starting off this episode then? Who has the hot take to begin?
I can take it. If Maui, I mean, I see Maui was like preparing, so I'm gonna give him the floor. Like I was gonna do the first one, but he was like gasping for air, just like to go for it. So just go for it, Maui.
Okay. I mean, we gotta take what we can as North Americans. As I'm just gonna even keep it American for this take. I'm just gonna keep it flat out American, because I've seen enough now. I've seen enough in the last 6 years that if the aliens are coming down and they say we need you to play a game of Counter-Strike,
it's going to be about STEWIE2K. I can't handle it.
If they're coming down and they say we need you to assemble a roster to beat us, you know who I have to put in there. I don't care if Dallas was a fluke. I don't care if it was the fastest Grand Slam that amounted to nothing else ever again after. I don't care if it was a fluke major. All I know is that he can win. I'm putting STEWIE2K in that lineup if I have to defeat the aliens to keep the human race alive.
Okay, that's the hot take. Is like STEWIE2K is like he's the guaranteed pick. He's the #1.
He's a winner. He's a winner. Doesn't matter if it's a fluke win. He's a winner.
Okay.
Obviously, you are an alien.
Okay.
The thing is, like, that's something what Alien would say, you know.
Well, I like it. It was actually kind of subtle as well, though, because at first I was like, what does he mean? But it's like, you want the aliens to win. Obviously, you're a saboteur. You never were a real human all along. Exactly. Fair enough. Okay.
You know how the aliens are put in a position where they have, like, influence.
Yeah, of course.
And voice, like the president of United States and, you know, all these things. You know, Maui should be there and just like, Stewie is there. Put him in the team. We will for sure. And then, you know, obviously they just annihilate us. And there is no more humans, which would be apparently a good deal for Maui, considering what he says. Do you have a point that you want to present to us?
It's okay. The point being that even if you look at how G2 performed in terms of firepower, beyond that, there's a lot of ways you could piece up that G2 run at Dallas. But in terms of individual performance, m0NESY put up similar numbers that he had put up at various other tournaments throughout the year. Like the 1.35 rating that he had at Dallas, he had a very similar rating at the Major. He had a similar rating at Kato. He had a similar rating at Pro League. Like, he's putting up that number regardless. But G2 as a whole, their numbers actually generally got worse in terms of pure firepower, and yet they played more winning Counter-Strike. And obviously, this is where you have to invoke the eye test just a bit here. Even though STEWIE himself performed pretty poorly, if you just look at the stats, as did Nexa, they obviously were playing a style of Counter-Strike that was a little bit more impactful. It had more teamwork behind it. The spacing, I'd say the most obvious thing with this team is that I didn't see as many stupid deaths by an entry fragger that was just running in needlessly dying, which I do with Hooksy. But when I watch STEWIE play, it's like he just has a bit more hesitation in his game, which just links him to his teammates behind him to trade better. It's like it's not really a hard concept to really grasp, but it's just like one of those ones where, yeah, sometimes you stop holding W or like a strafe key just so that your teammates can catch up to you slightly. It's such a small thing, but like Stewie's okay with doing the dirty job and doing it well so people behind him can trade better. And Hooksy honestly, like when he just holds W sometimes, dude, there's no even potential for a trade. He's just swinging into an angle, and it's like he's almost like blinded as he's swinging into it. And it's like, you can look at the radar or have any kind of cognizance about who's behind you there. And so when I watched Stewie at this, yeah, I mean, he got a few impact frags in some like late game situations, but I'm not even really talking about his fragging. I just think purely fundamental wise, he has much better fundamentals than somebody like Hooksy and many people in the space who sometimes just kind of run like blind entry fraggers still to this day.
Yo, I don't understand what you're trying to say, to be honest. Like, okay, do I agree that Stewie has better fundamentals than Hooksy? Absolutely. Does he have better mechanics? Absolutely. Does he have better aim? Probably. Does he have like IGL's capabilities? Obviously not. We saw that in the past. Like, so there is no comparison between these two players. One is super aggressive, one is like super defensive. As a super aggressive player, you need to be sharp. His rating was 0.88 in the event, right? You need to have like impact. You know, it was NiKo calling, it was Monesi fragging, it was Hunter fragging, right? It wasn't like Stewie was there. Yes, he can do that job a little bit better, but like I'm not understanding what you're trying to say. You're proving us that Stewie is better than Hooksy, or you're proving us that Stewie needs to be in a Team Earth, super team that needs to defeat aliens. Like, which one is it?
Okay, in terms
because you are comparing,
yes.
like you're comparing Stewie to Hooksy. Okay, I get that one. I agree to that one. But compare him to any kind of player. Any player in any top 10 team.
What's the more abstract point then? Yeah, like what aside from just better than Hooksy, what would make him be on this super team for your
is
Earth
that there's clearly with this like the fluke winning has happened enough times now that it's no longer fluky, that his fundamentals are actually good enough that even though by rating it looks like dog shit, he's actually playing winning Counter-Strike, which is something that so frequently gets overlooked in this space because it's like, yes, his rating is fucking bad. Like he's not even getting those entry kills, but his rating wasn't good when they won the Grand Slam. His rating wasn't necessarily that good when they won the major. He's just doing all the dirty work, but doing it incredibly well.
What are you talking about? Like he has way more impact in those teams where he won Grand Slam. He's at 64 whatever days. He had a decent lineup that played proper CS. He played himself much impactful Counter-Strike. He was the one who was like trend setting for this kind of aggressive solo kind of entry role. Yes, but right now, tell me a team where you can put Stewie that he can make impact for that team to go on the next level. Like,
here's the problem, Kassad. He
I'm
just
talking about the top 30
because it makes it topical since he just won now. That's why he's like crowbarring the current one in. Like Maui's point would actually be a way better made if he just ignored IEM Dallas now and just went off the major winning Cloud9 and the team that could have the Grand Slam and just said that Stewie would be on my all-time team in any era to save the Earth or whatever. If you do that angle, I think it's a way better like take. Like I'm with Kassad. Like if anything, the easiest one to call a fluke is actually the Dallas one because as he just said, like the joke there is this, Maui. That brilliant narrative of like Stewie's just a winner. He just built different, bro. None of that matters if fucking Monesi just plays 15% worse. Literally none of those narratives ever get activated. If you even just lose the... By the way, here's a banger for you. If Siwoo just actually shoots people, this narrative doesn't even get activated. It would just be like, well done to Stewie for helping us come second. I hope Hooksy comes back and we can win the tour. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I actually agree with Kassad. If you just make it about the Liquid one and the Cloud9 one, that one you've got a decent case for. And even then, though, I'll make a point and I'll spin it back to you. I'll tell you in a weird way why the current one at Dallas, actually in some fucked up sense, maybe does get to the essence of why STEWIE2K has won. But none of you are going to like it. So Donna, CS, fucking Launder, anyone who like does or doesn't like G2, you're going to hate this point. But I don't give a fuck. Which is, you know what? I actually think one of the reasons why STEWIE2K would have actually ruined his career if he tried to be in IGL the whole time. People remember in the first year of his career, he did it when they just needed someone to do it. So he kind of did it like NiKo did. When you're forced to do it, you don't have an IGL or an established one. You do it yourself for a while because you can call a bit, but you don't try to permanently be the IGL, right? Obviously, if people don't know, Tarek was the IGL when they won in Cloud9, and then obviously Nitro was the IGL in Team Liquid, right? The reason why I actually don't think STEWIE2K is that suited to be an IGL, I'll just say it straight up. I don't think he's that smart. Am I hurting anyone's feelings by saying that? You already won fucking all the tournaments. You shot everyone in the head. Like, does everyone have to be a genius? Like, here's what I don't get. I've never seen him as some brilliant mind for the game. In fact, for me, half of his actual game is clearly intuition. It's like feel for when to do something. And this is a point I want to make that'll sound counterintuitive, but I actually believe it. Kassad's been a coach. I'll be interested to see where he goes on this. I actually think there's a concept from basketball I'm going to apply here. And it's the concept, I think it was like a Bill Simmons take, but it's not a bad one. It's the idea that every team needs someone who has irrational confidence. That was the concept. And the most famous player everyone used to apply this to. Do you remember the player who used to play with LeBron, J.R. Smith? If people don't know, J.R. Smith is someone who actually had like shit hot skills, if you don't know, guys. He actually was like a really skilled player, but he was clearly at no point in his entire life a top 10 player in the NBA. But he never got that memo, Maui. Like when he used to get the ball, he really used to play like he was LeBron and just take whatever shot he wanted and go for the craziest like 3-pointers when he's guarded and there's like still like, fucking 22 seconds left on the clock. And at the time, right, that's really frustrating when the guy does like that and fucks the game up, right? But in a weird way, the reason why a guy like that, but here's the crucial concept, you only want like one of those guys on your team though. Because in a weird way, actually having confidence and believing, even when it's slightly delusional, that you can win or it's possible to do something, will actually help you in the short term win more often than actually being a figure like an Elige or a Device where they're really like reasonable people, like, but I haven't really like, prepared, they are better than me. That sort of mentality actually is hard to overcome. So what I'll say is this, I actually think one quality that STEWIE2K has that a lot of NA pros never had, that's why I sort of low-key agree with Maui, but more from like a psychological perspective, a talismanic component, is I actually do think that in Counter-Strike you have a not as bad but still bad version of what I see in League of Legends. So in League of Legends, right, Korean players won everything for about like 6 or 7 years. And then the joke is now Korean and Chinese players just win everything. And the problem is they are way better players than the North American or European players. But the point is, it's not just that they're better, it's that the Western players know they're not as good. And I can tell you right now, guys, because they don't play constantly in League of Legends, you basically like play domestically all year, and then you go to like the equivalent of the major, but you've only got 1 or 2 of those a year, and that's the one time you play the big Korean and the Chinese. I can tell you right now, they're all just like mentally broken before they even enter the game. Like when they go to do the boot camp, they get their head smashed in 50 times by all the better Asian teams, and then they just come into the actual official tournament like, well, how could we win? And they sort of like, they're already broken. Someone like STEWIE2K, whether right or wrong, by the way, I actually do think believes he can win all these fucking games. I think it's actually like an underrated quality. As long as you don't have, the key thing here is you couldn't have 5 STEWIE2Ks. That would never work. But I do think actually the odd player, because I'll tell you what, from knowing the Team Liquid guys when they didn't have him and they lost a lot of those finals, that was exactly their problem. It was never actually, by the way, that Astralis was unbeatable. We saw other people beat Astralis. It's that even though they themselves, by the way, could beat NAVI and they had all the confidence believe they could beat those. In their mind, they could never beat Astralis. And as soon as that was set, they never could. Whereas I'll tell you what, it's same concept, by the way, as to why I think Stanislaw won so much. Stanislaw just never got it. He really just thought, like, well, of course you can beat Astralis, if you have a good game and it goes that way. So he never got that mentality set. So in a very roundabout way, I sort of agree with Maui. Obviously, if I'm just making like my 5 best players to possibly play them, and it's not about like intangibles, I wouldn't put them on there, but I get what you mean.
The way I see it, like what you're trying to explain, it reminds me to the movie Casino.
Okay.
You know that Joe Pesci is like playing that fucking stubborn gangster, and then there is a scene when he sits with the bank guy, and he's like, "Listen, I need my money back," and he's like, "Yeah, but you cannot get the money back. Like, hey, listen, what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna like bash your head in. I'm gonna go to prison, and by the time you walk out of hospital, I'm gonna get out of jail. I'm gonna bash it again." He just doesn't give a fuck. He's just gonna go. Like he's not afraid of anything. Those like qualities that you mentioned, like in Stewie, it reminds me of people like that. Obviously, non-violent terms.
Sure.
All right, you're gonna kill me 10 times. I'm gonna go for 11.
Sure.
On 11-11 on practice, he's gonna make the play that he's gonna make on 11-11 on the official game on stage in front of like 15,000 people. Those are the qualities of Stewie. Those were the qualities of Stewie back in the day when his career was like super successful, winning all this shit, right? But then he ruined his career by being the IGL.
Yes.
And then obviously, what happened in EG and all this bullshit after that kind of was the final nail in the coffin. Yeah, this little comeback is nice. There is no like, okay, he delivered something, right? He wasn't the greatest. He wasn't, mega bad, but he was like, okay. We forgot him enough, but like putting him in some sort of a super team or any team that kind of pretends to kind of go for the playoff runs or championship runs, no, not just.
Okay. Here's the thing, though. It was a hot take. It is a hot take, point made, to be fair. It wasn't like reasonable take shared by everyone. That'd be a shit show. I mean, the joke is that could just be HLTV confirmed rename. Anyway, right. So who has the next take? You have one, Kassad? Come on.
Yes, I have multiple. I'm going to stick with the first
All
one.
right. Okay.
First one, easy one, is that G2.
Fucking hell.
G2.
G2 check straight out the gate. Come on, hit me with it. Come on. What,
But
let me
that's
guess.
just
What could it be, Kassad? What should G2 do this week on Hot Take Point Made? Come on.
But the thing is, like,
We've changed this entire roster about 1,000 times. Everyone except Modesty's been kicked out the team, hypothetically.
now that it's the end of the season, Duncan, right? They want Dallas. Despite
Okay.
the fucking win
True.
in Dallas, G2 should not enter the next season with the same lineup as they did the previous one.
Is that a hot take?
Huh?
Is that really a hot take?
I mean,
Doesn't everyone agree with that?
I'm
At this
warming up
point,
to it, like.
at this point, doesn't everyone low-key agree with that at this point? You know what I mean?
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
agree.
I don't know by the messages that I'm receiving.
Right.
Obviously not. You know, the thing is, like, everybody still thinks it's fucking.
You're just getting messaged by Donna, though. That's the
Okay.
thing.
No, by everyone else. Like, the fucking messages that keep coming. But the thing is, like, right now it's obvious what needs to happen. Like, I think right now after the Dallas win, it should be obvious to G2 organization. It should be obvious to G2 players. It should be obvious to NiKo. It should be obvious to fucking everyone else that's supporting G2 in any kind of
It's
fucking
just so fucked
official
up.
or
It
unofficial way.
couldn't have gone any worse for Huxley. He wasn't even actually at the fucking tournament. You'd think the tournament you play and do badly at would be the one that'd
He's
fuck your
gonna be
career.
the one
It's
that
the one he
tells
didn't
you what to
attend.
do.
That's the stupidest part about this. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
I mean, the transition needs to happen very fast. I think that, I mean, it's obvious what needs to happen.
By the way, Kassad, you have to hit us with it, right? Just tell us straight up. What was your vibe when G2 won that tournament? Like,
I mean,
Yeah.
I was going to
Go on.
tweet so many things.
okay.
And I was like, I cannot be.
Did you
fucking
just have a huge
right.
grin on your face, though? Were you just loving it?
Yes.
Oh, of course you was. I know.
Absolutely. Like, we have like 3 of my countrymen winning the event. Obviously, Huxley is not there to claim the credit
Sure.
for it somehow.
Sure.
And his amazing calls. And, you know, they fucking won it. So they kind of opened their eyes to what needs to be done.
I still
And that
can't
needs to,
believe.
like,
I still think low-key the most deranged hot take was the one where it was just, if Huxley doesn't get kicked, I'll just stop talking to NiKo. That's not even a hot take, I know. That might still be the maddest hot take. But I'll tell you what, it's low-key, it might work out. It actually might still work out, that
I
one.
mean,
Okay.
the thing is that he needs to take the IGL role out. It's like right on a plate. Like, I think with this event he realized he can actually do it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then frag as well. Like, and you have Modesty next to you. If I'm you, like, I'm joining. Like, listen, I'm saying to G2, listen, I'll stay here.
Yeah.
We renew our contract, renew our Modesty contract, renew whoever you fucking want, right? Bring me the players that I want instead of the players that we don't want anymore, or a player, whatever the
Sure.
fuck is it. And it's like, and then let's go. I'm gonna take this fucking thing. And I'm going to have Modesty. I'm going to have another strong player probably instead of Huxley. And then I'm going to go into the next season and try to win everything. Because obviously they can. Right now. We saw it if they won it with, you know, Huxley and Stewie. They surely can win it with fucking stronger players than that.
Yeah, I mean, this was going to be one of my own hot takes, so I'm just kind of cannibalizing my own point. I was going to just say that NiKo needs to be the full-time IGL of G2 now. I feel like if you're able to do it with Nexa and with Stewie, like, as much as I want to put Stewie on the world super team to defend against the alien invasion, I also know that if it comes to, it's like, for whatever reason, Stewie in, like, smaller games probably wouldn't be that great. I feel like this. You could basically replace Nexa, and you could actually, funnily enough, probably keep Stewie, or you could actually replace,
Stewie,
you could
okay.
replace Stewie with, like, another kind of entry fragger type. I think they both would have been totally satisfactory in terms of options there. But I believe that, yeah, you should change because, again, like, in CS2, it's been, like, the best result that G2 even had in all of CS2, playing even, like, when people are, like, saying, oh, people are just getting adjusted to the game, it should be easy or whatever. It's like, no, they had some time when they weren't really getting the game. And then you know, they play Chengdu, they play the major, they play, like, the best they ever finished was top 4. But then when they actually played with NiKo as the in-game leader, they won with an arguably weaker roster. Like, so obviously the structure is not behooving the players who are supposed to be monsters and then do the carrying with a good system. So whatever system NiKo called was more effective than the system that Hooksy has been calling for the team. So to me, that's obvious. That's an obvious one to me, that the calling elevated when NiKo was the IGL there to actually strengthen the team that they had, which was on paper actually weaker in terms of firepower. So no, I'm on board with that one, which is why it's not a hot take, by the way. I think a lot of people should agree with the fact that G2 should look for a change here. And I think the obvious changes are Hooksy and Nexa. I think that they're very, very obvious. There's still a lot of good anchor players that are out there right now that could take Nexa's roles. And then, by the way, like a Hooksy level player. I mean, okay, the guy I'll always keep saying is Heavy God. I will always keep saying that. I even think that JKS is an obvious replacement still to this day, even though he hasn't been playing. I still think he would be better than Nexa would be. So
okay,
those are
not available. Like what next? We know that Heavy God is like connected.
We can buy them, surely. We don't have to actually be a full free agent, surely, for this conversation.
Yeah, but the thing is, it doesn't have to be a full free agent. But the thing is, like, we know that he's connected to Cloud9. We know that JKS is not a thing. So who else?
Okay. What Heavy God's going to Cloud9? Like that's like behind the scenes.
I mean, it's like you know, yeah.
It's going to be done, right?
For all I know, it's close to done deal or done deal. I don't know.
Fair enough.
But like everybody's saying it.
Okay, I mean, I would probably take somebody. I'd probably take somebody like Bit at least, but I don't know if you could get anybody from Navi.
Okay.
Probably would take somebody like. I mean, Tessus would be pretty sweet to snipe from Heroic because he's like a space-taking rifler, so he kind of fills some of the Hooksy roles. He plays some of the bad anchor positions also. Same kind of line with thinking with Shush there that you could go for somebody like that. I don't know if you really it depends how much you're opening your pocketbook here. But if you were able to get anybody, I mean, obviously Xantaras is a huge reach for a player also.
Kassad, let me ask you this. If you don't want him to name people who are like on top teams, for example, like I'll give you an obvious example. Like I think 99% of discussions about G2 and Vitality can just be solved by going just side Exertion and Yimpa. But obviously the premise goes, would they really leave Mouse now? Aren't they like the crown jewels? You know, they're probably not available. So how about this then? I will ask you this though, Kassad, right? If we all agree Modessy's like the best player in the world, it would also be justified for G2 to make a side, and if it makes them like the major winners, right? If you need one last piece to win the major or something, you probably are justified if you've got people like Modesty, right? You probably should make it a signing. Don't you think so? You should push your checkbook out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you have the best player in the world, obviously top 5 player in NiKo, while he's going to transition into the Agile, you are creating the next 3 years of your team.
Yeah, so I think it's fair for him to say people like Tessus. Like, if I'm Tessus and I get a chance to play with fucking Modesty, I should say yes, right? If the deal's there.
I don't think you understood my kind of reluctance to
what is it then?
It's the name itself, it's the player itself.
Oh, right.
I don't think he's good enough to be there. Like they need like either like I would just go for somebody like super younger, up and coming talent similar to Nerds, right? Like what he was and Spinks before he went to Vitality, right? Like before he was like a full-on star.
So we gamble on the next best rifle, basically.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Okay.
I would like, you know, the guy killed the kid from Fnatic, the Matisse guy. He's insane, dude. He's absolutely insane. Right, he plays so good, like players like that, right? Up and coming stars, right? And then you go for something and you sign them. Even when you sign them, you're gonna pay the buyout probably, of like 6-figure buyout. But the contract doesn't have to be that high for the rookie kid, right? So it can be done in a proper way, but like you know, you don't know like what's gonna happen, obviously. But those are the directions that I would take.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we're all in agreement that we want to see something change on G2, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would you also so like one of my other takes was gonna be just like NiKo should full-time IGL. Is that of the opinion?
I'll tell you what, I'll jump in a little bit because I want to ask you this. The real reason why I think the actual Dallas win is so important isn't even the idea, like you all said on fucking Twitter, like it shows Huxley's a fraud. Like it actually shows nothing about Huxley's IGLing. Like his IGLing his IGLing won championships. His IGLing did badly. And also, spoiler, I doubt NiKo just went, everyone forget everything Huxley ever said. He probably worked on some Huxley strats in this tournament. But the more important thing to me is it opened a door none of us really considered before, which is if you actually do for real take the idea, maybe NiKo can IGL, suddenly you don't have to recruit in-game leader, which if you notice 90% of the discussions were always like, yeah, but who can you get who's already better than Huxley and is available? And that was like half the fucking game people played to make it so you could never remove Huxley, because the point was, unless like Carrigan was coming in the door, then there was never anyone good enough. It was a short list of like 4 names, wasn't it? Whereas like you're pointing out now, if you're just trying to, if you make NiKo the IGL, and by the way, what a mega skilled IGL you're going to have there. Like you're already going to have insane firepower from the IGL position. All of a sudden, the 2 riflers you're recruiting, because you don't need an AWPer, like that actually is the easiest recruitment in Counter-Strike. Just 2 really good riflers, 1 aggressive, 1 passive. Like, I think we can get those boys. Those that do, but there's about 50 names could fit that list. So, no, I'm with you, because actually, it's sad. I agree with you. I actually think in the end, it's not a hot take that NiKo should be IGL. But because the sad thing is, when they won the event, I wanted to do that as my hot take of this show. Because remember, one of the most popular takes everyone had was NiKo shouldn't be the IGL. If he does that, he's trying to be the God Emperor. He's out of control. But as I pointed out on Twitter, that take is from in FaZe Clan, guys, like 4 years ago. Like, so much of his career is gone now. Like, I actually do think it's a different player than it was back then. Like, remember, he was only a couple of years into being a top pro at the time. I think he's seen enough years now. I actually think it's almost the logical move for NiKo to become the IGL. Not least because I'll just throw this out there. He just has had his own differences with even some of the greatest IGLs. Like, if he can't get along with Carrigan and Lexi B, you know what? Maybe it is actually for real your time to be the IGL then. If you actually want to commit to the role, I also think, like I alluded to, not only do I think you could actually do it in terms of calling, I also think, by the way, from what I saw in FaZe, I also think his game wouldn't suffer. He's one of the few players I'd kind of trust can IGL and frag, so I'm actually sort of into that move, but I agree with you. Sadly, I think everyone agrees with that. The joke is, it's even implied maybe NiKo does by what he's trying to hint at in interviews, where he's set up the idea one day he will be an IGL. So I actually think, even though that would have been a mega hot take before Dallas, I agree. I actually think most people agree with that now, Maui. It feels like most people sort of at least coming along on that train, the narrative train, as it were.
Yeah. All right, who's next?
All right, I've got one for you, but I'm going to make this very careful. This is why it's a hot take. It's actually going to be a rare example of a hot take where what's going to make it hot is that it's too nuanced. So are you ready? This is going to fry your brain initially. If this was 6 months ago, Maui, and the story was Hallzerk extends with Call, my hot take would be simple. He's not anywhere close to good enough, and you've just doomed the team for all those years he signed for. But the problem now I notice is, because his stats went back up, most people actually are a bit like Cole. They're sort of like, hey, he's sort of earned his spot on the team. He's played himself into form. You know, he's better than, it's the Huxley thing again. How many people can you really sign who are better than him? Like, if people don't know, his numbers went way, way up this year. And he definitely did actually last few years sort of like get his level back. Like you saw it. By the way, he's had some mega series. Think about the one he had against VP at Pro League. He's had a bunch of series that were good. Here's my hot take. And this is why I say it's actually because it's nuanced. This might sound harsh, but I actually think he's just good enough that it has doomed the team. Notice I didn't do that. He's bad and it's doomed the team, though. I actually think the problem is this. I actually think the level up is real. Like, I watched this guy play the whole time he was in Dignitas, by the way, with all those NIP players. He was a player with potential, but he obviously was massively inexperienced. He never got to go on any lands. It was all online. So he never really got his career going. Like, everyone at the time, I always used to say, hyped him because he wasn't the four washed players. Like, what you were basically saying there was, you can play competent CS, but the rest of them, they're all the shitters. So he got away with it for years, right? When he was actually in Colin, he's had to be tested. I think most of the time until this year, he didn't make the grade. Remember, he was the AWPer. You can't just do that thing of like, no, but he has like a 1.03 rating. That's okay. He's the AWPer, bro. He's not like a fucking random rifler. Like, he was given all the resources he needed to be a top 20 player in the world, assuming the team ever had the placings, obviously. Like, I'll take that into consideration, just like Flit and Kassad sometimes couldn't be in that list if the team... But here's the last thing I have to say is this. I actually do think that the glow up is real, but I think this is as far as it goes. I think people are actually thinking he like gets another 10% better. If this is as good as he's going to be, the current team they have, it's going to be what it is now. They're going to be like one every now and then they'll do a 5th to 8th. If they did an amazing run, they could make a semi. They're never going to lift a trophy with this squad. I'm telling you right now, Bear. And the reason why I know that is because there's also nothing left for Elige. He's a totally known quantity, and he pretty much plays the same every game. So I actually think, as weird as it sounds, the hot take is I think I'm the only person who, on the one hand, thinks in a way he actually is good enough to be on call. It's just the problem is he's not good enough. You want call to be better than this, because actually, if you look at their team, they are gambling that the Hallzerk and Elige essentially is their HLTV top 20 players. That's what the current roster construction would be. And the difference is, Elige definitely will be on that list. I don't know if Hallzerk can make it. I think he's probably touch and go. So it's a weird one because I'm giving him his props, but it's also a little bit backhanded. Thoughts?
Why are you singling out like Hallzerk?
Because he just signed a fucking extension today, mate.
So, I mean, there's other people there who signed recently.
Because they're not the AWPer, mate. I'm sick
but
and tired
why-
of this
why-
shit
but why
where
does it
every
have to
fan
be
in
the
the
AWPer,
every
right?
fan in the world acts like you can go into the game, do 3 aces, pull your pants down and shit all over, and at the end, as long as the HLTV, a Serbian man goes 1.00, then nothing he did in the game was wrong. I'm so bored of that game. I'm so bored of hearing ZeWu fans tell me he is the greatest player in the history of Counter-Strike, but then he has a dog shit game. Yeah, but still at a 1.10. There's no still, you cunt. He wasn't good enough. Like, the stats can't be enough. If you watch this guy's game, kassad, the problem he has is this. Actually, most of the time in call now, he's pretty good. He's one of the better players. But the real problem is, if they have a leash, mate, they need, like, this guy actually literally does need to be Torshi. He needs to be like another level up if you actually want to win. Like, I think the problem is he's just that far off it. Are you gonna defend him?
Listen. No, I'm not gonna defend him. I'm gonna say that I agree with the fact that he's just good enough not to be kicked.
Okay.
Is that what you're trying to?
Yeah.
The point that you're trying to make?
Yeah.
Okay, I understand that, but taking them, like, if you take, like, for example, another team with a bad op, who is another team with a bad op? Let's go over the rankings so I can just prove.
I mean, narrow it down and all. Fucking hell. Who's a bad op? Let's see. Team Liquid. Who else we got? Fucking.
Let's say Team Liquid, right?
Sure.
The thing is, like, why would you single out the op, and not the other people as well? Because they have equally underperformed, even though they have a organization that is massively funded with the partnership spots throughout the whole fucking 5-6 years, and they haven't won a single thing, right? They had
Sure.
a couple of runs and that's it, right? Why would we single out just some random Hallzerk guy and not JT and not Grim and not the other guys and not the organization behind the roster moves who signed this team, re-signed this fucking team after they went to what, finals in Sydney?
At the beginning,
or just
yeah.
before it, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they were blinded by this single success, and they.
I also think,
2
if I had to
years.
guess, they're quite cheap too, kassad. I'm going to guess that these work like
doesn't
enormous
fucking matter.
contracts. So I think they just did them in max,
Doesn't
you know.
fucking matter. Like, they did re-sign them and
Sure.
lock them in, right? If it was 5K, 10K, 50K, it doesn't fucking matter. They re-signed them, and they didn't re-sign Hallzerk, right? And now he has a performance in Pro League with a couple of aces, like you said, and he got the extension of the contract, right? Like, okay, I do agree with your point, with your hot take, yes, 100%. But I don't think in that specific team we should target a single player. We should target what's happening in the rest of the team that's not performing well, except Elige, who is one of the top 5 players right now. And what's happening in the organization that made the decision to re-sign all these 4 and eventually the 5th player as well. So what is next for them? Now listen to me, Duncan. Like, after this major, like, these things, 7 spots is not going to be for Americans.
Okay.
Things will change after this major, right? When it comes to RMR, when it comes to spot distribution, there is no more franchise leagues. Franchise, the partnership leagues, whatever the fuck you want to call them. So where will Complexity land there? How are they going to land in this fucking pool of crocodiles and fucking great white
It's gonna
sharks
be
of
tough.
tier 2 CS, where you cannot know who is cheating, who is match fixing, who is actually good, who has the fucking radar or not? Do you think they will land well with this lineup?
Probably not.
So
Probably
that's
not.
the question. It's a question, how did we get to that point? How didn't we prepare for this point in 2025? Not about fucking Hallzerk and his contract. Let the man play, you know?
No, I won't. No, actually, kassad, I won't just let him play. If he wants to go and face it, he can play all fucking day long. If you want to actually sit in a chair next to Elige, one of the greatest riflers of all time, and go, sorry, guess I didn't carry again at a major. That's not good enough. Actually, you know what? Go play with fucking traffic, you cunt. Metaphorically, in the video game, Grand Theft Auto.
In Minecraft. In Minecraft.
No, Grand Theft Auto.
In Roblox.
Grand Theft
In
Auto 6.
Roblox.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Maui-
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the complexity topic right now is one that I've kind of held out on this team for a while as to, like, if there was a single change, how I would fix it. The problem is that, like, unfortunately with complexity, they've outlined that their goals just seemingly don't match what Elige's are. And I think that's the biggest crime
Right.
about this roster, is that Elige is aspiring to absolute world greatness, and he's unfortunately taken it upon himself to be, to me, one of the best 10 riflers in the world. He's one of the best 10 riflers in the world, hands down.
Why not?
I would say that's actually an easy call. Is where does he land in that? Is he even a top 5 rifler? Because he might be. He might be a top 5 rifler in the entire game right now. And yet the rest of complexity, they're just not there. And that's not, I don't think, about like I don't think that's about a differing of goals. It's about a sheer strict limitation that some of the players are now finding. I think some of them are hitting their ceiling. I think Hallzerk has shown his ceiling. I think practically everybody on this roster has probably shown their ceiling, except for maybe JT, because I think if you gave JT different pieces, I don't know what he'd create. I don't know what he would do. He's been playing with a lot of the same guys for a long time. He's adapted his system to Elige. Elige has adapted his play to Complexity. They are now a better team overall. But the thing is that Grim and Floppy right now are kind of like, for what they are as riflers, they're sort of just average / mediocre. I'd say mediocre for tier 1 teams. And that's the biggest problem. You have a world-class rifler. You have, to me, an above average operator in Hallzerk. I think Hallzerk is like, he's kind of in my B tier of operas. Like, he's actually he's definitely better than some of the other people. Like, some people are saying like, oh, sign Icy from like Amcall or whatever. I'm like, what? Like,
Right,
I mean,
okay.
I'm like, that dude, I don't think that dude's better than Hallzerk. I just don't think that guy's better than Hallzerk. And then like, I look down the list and stuff like that, and it's like, I don't know if I really imagine like, you know, people like Afro are not better than Hallzerk. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of operas in the top 30 that are not better than Hallzerk. There are some that are better, but there's a lot of teams that are even like around Complexity's level who have operas that are a similar level. For example, when Heroic were playing with NiKo, I thought that Hallzerk was better than NiKo for sure, and now they've made the switch. That being said, like, on this market, I don't really see a clear upgrade, because I was just brainstorming before this, like, who would I actually get to replace Hallzerk? And the people that seemed readily available to me were Hades and Simple. And I don't think Simple's going to Complexity. And it's possible. There's maybe a world, but I didn't imagine that. And I think to myself, is Hades really worth the risk? And he might just be a side grade, and I don't really think that's like a clear-cut answer.
Maui, like, people are just not looking in deep enough. They were offers. Like, there is this Slant kid that joined Gamer Legion.
The Gamer Legion, yeah.
Like, he was there. He was available. You know, I mean,
and also you wait until now. If it's a month ago, you could have signed Dexter. He was just sat there the whole fucking time.
Exactly.
By the way, here's the point I'll make. I see what Kassad means now. Put it this way: in Kassad's argument basically is Hallzerk's not the worst player on call, and he's clearly not the worst player. There's like much worse player. Here's the reason why Kassad I target Hallzerk. One, he just resigned, so he's going to be there for a while in theory.
Yeah.
And then two,
topical.
The difference is if I'm changing one player only, I could have massive change. If I could make a better AWP go to call, maybe we'll cook with gas tomorrow. I'm with you. If I could change, here's the thing: if I could change the whole team, maybe Hallzerk can even stay. If I have Elige, Hallzerk, and then I've got Yimpart and fucking Blame for something, then maybe Hallzerk doesn't have to go.
Yeah.
I'm just meaning if you were, because here's the problem: since they've constantly messaged in call that they don't want to change the roster, they never hint that they're on the market. You notice? Like, I would suggest they're not going to make like a 3-player change. So if I'm seeing a world where they were either going to sign this guy or, you know, go for someone else, I would have just rather they went for the gamble on someone else. I'd even go for your angle. I'd even go for an up-and-coming player. Gamble that they're just going to be really amazing. Go for it.
The crazy thing about Complexity that they could have done is that, JKS is on the market right now. Floppy has been a pretty weak performer for Complexity. If they actually went JKS for Floppy, they could actually also replace Grim. Yeah. They could have done Grim for Blame F, and they could have played the Asia RMR. They could have played the Asia RMR. How crazy is that? Right. JT would count, because Africa counts in the Asia region for the qualifiers. So JT would count as that.
Oh, right. Yes.
They throw Africa. Our team, Maui, are we also building our team to just be on the RMR?
No. So that's the safety net.
Like, you present yourself. Listen. I have a great fucking facility, state of the art, $300 million, Dallas fucking Cowboys, and the goal line for you is qualifying for the major.
No, so it's not. It's obviously not. But hear me out.
Hear me out all the way through.
Hear me out all the way through. How is this team not better? How is Blame F for Grim and JKS for Floppy not better for Complexity overall? With the safety net still that you can play the Asia RMR. It's with the safety net you can play the Asia RMR, and that you have a much better team now. You have Elige, JKS, Blame F, Hallzerk, and you have JT. That's a better team than they have today.
You honestly think that JKS and Blame F would join that?
They played for them before. They played for them before. So why would they not play again?
Okay. So you think they're biased against them?
He can tell you about his fucking time in Complexity.
Okay. Well, the problem is,
Okay.
well, two things. One, I can't bring him because right now he's sat in a fucking closet somewhere, refusing to play CS until like he gets the team of his choice, just come begging on the hands. And then secondly, I would ask Blame F, but he's in fucking prison, aka Fnatic now, so I don't really know that it's better for either of them. Because like Fnatic's pretty shit too, mate.
I mean, it's better than Complexity, I'll tell you that much. Like, they're missing an Opera too. I think you can make the same argument for Afro that you made for fucking...
I think the Afro
Hallzerk.
guy's not very good at all, mate. I don't
No,
know why they did that
Afro's like the
signing.
worst part of Fnatic right now.
I don't know
He's
why
like
they
the
did
worst
that
part of
signing.
Fnatic. Yeah.
It's why, to me, I actually, unironically, even though it's not a hot take, I'll just quickly say it. That's why I was one of the first people who said, I actually think for real, if they're going to kick Cadian out of Liquid, well, the problem he has is there's not many teams are going to sign an Opera and an IGL in one player. If I was Fnatic, I would just do that signing tomorrow, mate. Like, I actually think the joke is, look, it wouldn't be good for Cadian, but I think it's way better signing for Fnatic. Like, he's more than competent, and he'd actually be like, and I even think he'd fit the Fnatic brand. Like, they want big personality people that can fucking vibe with it, etc. So the stupid thing is, I would do that tomorrow, that move. I don't know why they don't.
Fnatic, like, low-key made one of the best signings in, like, tier 1.5.
Yeah.
Right? They signed this Matisse kid who is an absolute beast. Like, they signed him from this team called Sampi, I think, right?
I think so,
It's
yeah.
he's extremely good. I don't think people realize how good he actually is. Like, he's delivering
Well, not
such
too many pieces
injectable
away then.
numbers.
Yeah, just need a
Yeah,
couple.
it's just like, you know, and they don't need a lot of pieces. Blame F, yes, he's good, still good. I think nothing will change for him. And then, like, they need to think about, like, what do we do with Crims at this point? Like, how long do we keep Crims? You know, how is Buddy, like, doing with these players? Can he make this system work? Like, what is the next step for Fnatic? Because
And
they
obviously,
have
logically, they should
two
just sign...
really good pieces.
In the fifth player, they should just sign STEWIE2K because he's a winner and he's built different and all that, and, you know, whatever. So, yeah, why not? Everyone just sign him, everyone.
Stewie can't win with those counts.
By the way, I'll actually give props to that. Normally, I don't think a lot of the jokes that they put in those like skits are that funny for me as well. But I did think it was funny where like his alibi was like that, like someone had played a game at 10 in the morning or what. That was actually quite funny. Whoever put that one in, that was actually legit. That was a pretty good joke.
That was one of the good skits. To give credit to ESL, there usually a lot of their skits.
Yeah.
They're just Mad Libs for like the actual movie scene.
That was
just
good.
One for one swap it. But that one actually had the most original writing in my.
The other one I did enjoy also, just because it was unfortunate the timing, was they didn't just make that skit, which in itself is amazing that they got Zebu to do like "You Are a Fraud" skit and Maniac be his defense lawyer, but they dropped it the day before he did actually fucking choke the final. Which is like, holy shit. He's actually like, that's like laying it up over your own basket so someone can throw it down on you, mate. That is crazy. That is crazy work.
The whole thing about Maniac being his lawyer.
It was so good. I know. It was so
the
good.
fact that Spinks is a fraud.
Yes.
Because Spinks is a fraud.
I love
it's like,
it.
you're still being the lawyer. You didn't get out of character.
Yeah. No, the joke is as well, by the way, that really is Zebu fans right now. Every time Zebu does badly, they're like, get that fucking Spinks, get this motherfucker. It's like, yeah, but your guy's also chucking. Yeah, but get him, get this guy in. It's like, your guy is also missing every shot, though. Like, they're both sucking. They both suck. How about that? Can we...
I know.
All right.
Zywu just choked another map 3, by the way.
This is a good time to segue into
on.
my next hot
Come on.
take. Mentioned Vitality. I think, if I'm Vitality,
It's going to be some nonsense, like kick Apex or something. Come on, hit me with it.
I should get NiKo as an IGL.
That might actually, before I think about it, that's one of the worst hot takes I've ever heard. But okay. Okay. Before I think about it, I'm engaged yet. I'm just my initial feel. Like, come on.
Listen.
Also, how are you going to turn, by the way, to people like me and him and make it like, yeah, but they're not available? Is fucking NiKo available to go to Vitality as an IGL from their main rival? Is he actually available, though? I'm just saying. I'm just putting out.
He was available to Falcons, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I'm thinking, by the way, does Vitality have like $1.5 million or whatever? Like, I don't know if, do they want to spend it though?
Yes,
do they all?
They have it. They have it.
Okay.
The thing is, like, he should go.
Come on.
Give
Give me all the reasons. Give me all the reasons. Come on.
All right, I'll give you the.
By the way, does Apex stay? Is Apex playing with him, but just not as IGL? What we doing it? Kicking him?
No. Just 1-for-1.
Okay.
Right? He goes there.
Yeah.
He gets a core that is equally or stronger than the.
That's true. Yeah, he gets better players. Yeah,
right
of course.
now. So
sure.
Okay, Mauisnake is the best operator on the planet right now, no questions. But he's not the best player in the world right now because Zywu, compared to Mauisnake, is a more complete player. Op for op, Mauisnake takes the fucking trophy. Rifle for rifle, ZywOo takes it every day.
Why are we comparing any guns? It's just about killing people in the game. Like, it's not like at the end of the game they go, listen, Morrissey, that was sick, that 30 bomb. A lot of AWP kills in there. Like, the fuck, I won the game, didn't I? What?
You
Do I have
used
to?
the
I
AWP.
know. What are we? What gradient is it? You're like the biggest ZywOo fan. Now your thing is like, oh shit, he's not the best anymore. Wait a minute.
No.
He's the most well-rounded player. He's the most well-rounded player in the world, though. He's number one. He's the goat of being well-rounded. Come on, hit me.
Honestly, he's better player than ZywOo for you. Yes. The thing is, like, better core, you have Spinks, who is another star with you on this fucking defensive, whatever, playmaking role-ish. And then you have Mezzi, who is at Flames, right? Compare them to, like, G2, they are better pound-for-pound players, right? Right now, at least.
Yeah.
When you compare Hunter and Nexa and those two guys there. Like, you can also make additional change instead of Mezzi to bring someone else, but you don't really have to, right? It would create a really solid, you make him IGL, you have the ZywOo on the AWP role, and then you have the kind of playmaker, closer, whatever you want to call it, on Spinks plus 2 players. It will achieve more than G2 did in the last 2 years.
Here's the problem. When you actually do explain it, it is a good move for NiKo, definitely. Like, he gets away by the team, gets all these amazing pieces. The only thing is, though, it's obviously a mega implausible. Like I say, like, there's no, if G2 can, they're never going to sell to, the Vitality and all that. Like, I get what you mean. As a hypothetical, it's not bad. It's not bad.
I mean, if they have the money, which I think they do, and obviously, I mean, they're paying a lot of money to ZywOo, who is like a face of the org franchise player, whatever the fuck. But I think they can afford it. If they can afford it, they should go for it. And they should make, like, they would instantly have a literally undefeatable trio.
Okay.
Right now. And then you have to think about the other 2 pieces. They have I don't know about the coach and the coaching staff and, like, the structure behind the org seems to be always all right in my eyes. I think Vitality is one of those, like, for me, like, respectable organizations that is very well structured behind the players. So I think it would be a very, very, solid move for them and both for NiKo, because just compare it, like, if NiKo has to go somewhere, where would you want to see him go? Falcons? I don't think so. Right? Would you send him to Falcons?
I mean, the thing is, now that he can be an IGL, he can go to almost any team, is the joke. Like, think about it, just opens the door wide open, doesn't it?
No, but the thing is, like, my thing froze a little bit. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Yeah.
For
a second there too.
So the thing is, like, if you send him to where? To Falcons, does he have the same op that he has in these different teams? Does he have the same firepower that he's in different teams? Maybe FaZe is the thing, but I don't think they can afford it. Liquid, they have money, but which they basically wanted to spend on Brazilian players for some reason. But the thing is, like, who can actually, like, get him that can afford him and that can provide him the proper players other than Vitality and maybe FaZe. But like I said, FaZe cannot really pay for him. So where can he go if you open up the fucking rankings? Maus, I don't think Maus has the business structure to kind of get that kind of start. It's not in their business model. That's not how they operate. So he doesn't go there. They just bought Brolan, and I know that was a fight, like a dog fight between, like, the NIP and them, like, how much are they gonna pay? And finally they made an agreement and they bought him. Like, so where else can he go? Who has the money?
Why is that also, why is that the new meta, where what you do is, instead of it being like, he's extended, or like new player announced, what you do is you bait your own fans that you're kicking one of your beloved players, but by being like, goodbye Brolan and welcome Mouse Brolan officially. Like, why is the new meta to be like, we're definitely not signing our like, are you signing him or not? Like, what is this weird meta where you're baiting me with disappointment into, like, oh, it's actually good. Oh, that is good news. Yeah, because that was a weird one. That signing to Mouse.
Because people like that are doing this announcement.
I know.
Like, they think
What even is that?
Next level. They're playing some 4D chess or something.
Because that's all on that one. Like, you know, on the image said goodbye, and it looked like it said goodbye Brolan, but they were like, if you look technically, it said Brolorn. It's like, right, so wait a minute. So my mistake. I quickly read with my peripheral vision, not knowing that Brolorn, a word that doesn't exist, would be written on there. And I stupidly thought it said goodbye Brolan because it had a picture of Brolan, not Brolorn, a player that doesn't. That whole thing, it's where that actually Loki did trigger me. That set me off on that. But I know they did. The worst thing is they baited me so hard. They got me so hard. Damn it.
The guy was doing his job properly then. All right, responses to my fucking thing.
Come on then, like Maui, come on. NiKo should join as calling IGL of Vitality. What do you think?
if people rewind this to like when that take was made, I had tears in my eyes. Like that's just absurd. That's just
I never even
despicable. Like,
conceived of that one. That's what's
yeah,
so wild
like,
about it. I know. I
like,
didn't know that was
say-
possible. Okay.
I know, to say any of my takes ever are like ridiculous, like they can't sign. To say that G2 can't get Tessus for a Hooksy, but then to want to put NiKo
I know
on
exactly.
Vitality, it's
I
like,
know.
what? Am I the one living in like fairyland, or are you?
Did
Like,
you forget what I was
we are-
saying? You said I didn't say they cannot get him because like lack of funds. I said they should not get him. They cannot get him because he's not G2 material.
All
they
right.
wanted
okay.
a lowball Zonic.
Okay.
They wanted a lowball Zonic on Vitality. How are they possibly going to afford NiKo? I don't understand where this is coming from.
If they lowball Sonic because they wanted to give more money to ZywOo.
Okay, and then they
No, here's the thing. I sort of do agree with Maui. Like, put it this way, kassad. I'll just say this straight up. I don't believe they actually sat down as the number one team in the world and said, our shortlist for players we must sign goes Flames and Messi. That sounds to me like you wanted cheap players, kassad. You saw Flames, contracts ended.
About this? Maui, what are you, a fucking financial consultant for Vitality? You know their bank statements? Like, what are you talking
They
about?
don't have unlimited money, though, do they? They've just signed all that money to ZywOo. They've got Spinks.
How the fuck do you know that?
That's the whole story of
That's
him
what he
leaving
claims.
the
He claimed that in
Falcons.
the interview, though, didn't he? He claimed it.
He
You know.
claims,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But do you have the insight in their financial fucking business?
All right, I just won't watch interviews. I
Okay.
won't listen to interviews
Okay.
ever again.
You done
Okay,
fucked
I
up,
won't-
Maui.
I'll never take.
Done
any-
fucked up, Maui.
Fucking
Okay.
Stewie
I know.
just
Yeah,
fucking
I've fucked up by
him
not
and
seeing
the
pen to paper like what the writing was on the contract.
Listen,
yeah,
I'll
My
bring
bad.
fucking Donner in here right now. Oh, you are relying on reports that are not legitimate. You do not even know the players or what is happening in the server. Like, that's actually more Oda picks.
I need to
but
talk
whatever.
to him
They're all the same
personally,
person.
right.
They're all the same person.
Yeah,
so.
I need to personally. Okay, I mean, first of all, I can't even blame Apex for what's going wrong with Vitality half the time. I do think that sometimes what's letting them down is Spinks not performing in big moments. Like sometimes he does fall off in a lot of those big games. Sometimes it's actually Mezzi's been good lately. Mezzi's admittedly been pretty good lately in Dallas, and he was pretty good today to kick off Blast. But in actuality, like Flames is pretty streaky. Apex himself doesn't perform that well as an individual, but I don't necessarily think it's like the calls are that bad. And even though NiKo would improve position for position everywhere that Apex is playing, he's just a flat out better player. I don't necessarily think that it's always up to him to just make it, like he's not going to necessarily make everybody better with his calls in a way that Apex is not right now. And so I don't even see this as being, I don't know if this would in my eyes lightly benefit Vitality. It's probably going to benefit actually NiKo more because then he's playing with some more reliable pieces next to him instead of Nexa and Hooksy. If I got to change anything, it would be more, hey, if we want to just put the best overall player on a better team right now, I think the better one-for-one move isn't NiKo for Apex. It's actually just ZywOo for either Hooksy or Nexa. If we really just want to do like a one-for-one swap to make one of these teams better.
I mean,
I've got a couple
I
angles for you. Go on.
Listen, before you go, like I was gonna like respect the take, but then you said like then you said Spinks and he joined the angry mob. You know, just like get Spinks. He didn't even mention ZywOo and his underperformance in big moments. He just went on Spinks. So did the fans and the Reddit get to you?
So I tell you what,
You
kassad.
are not really
This is the scouting
mentioning
report for Maui,
ZywOo at
right?
all.
The problem is this. He has still never forgiven Spinks for winning that Pro League and fucking up NAF and your Kindars. One chance to win a trophy ever when he sort of like scuffed it but still won. And then he also won the major. So obviously, as Maui, here's the thing. Maui has so desperately wanted to get on that like ZywOo lifeboat that was leaving the simple mothership, as it were. But the difference is, though, he keeps what, because I know to point out, watch out for the big games, though. He that makes him scared. He's scared to go there. He's not going to do like me with Device and just go near, far, wherever, and just fucking go down the ship. He has to know that ZywOo's going to make it. So at the moment, while ZywOo doesn't, he's also going to blame Spinks. They're all going to blame Spinks, mate. Spinks is the whipping boy. By the way, as a more serious point, I'll make some actual analysis. So here's the problem with this move. Look, if we're just doing it as like you can do any move possible and all these players have to say yes, I do think it could be an amazing move. Like, I will just say this point. I've made this point on shows many times, but people think I'm just joking. I'm not joking, right? One thing I don't get in the modern era is why players sit around and just let, like, think about some of the random shitter nobodies like Calc, Jonas Gunderson from NIP, who were like the GMs deciding, like, Like, if you're Brolin, you just let that guy decide your fate for 2 years. Like, if your device, you sat back and said, let this fucking random dickhead who used to be pro 20 years ago, why doesn't he just decide how my career goes? Oh, did I win no majors? Well, guess I'll just be me who has to live with that. And in 20 years, no one will even know what my GM's name was. What I don't get is why players don't realise it's the NBA, you idiots. If you are someone like a ZeWu or a Simple, as long as you're actually playing, this is where Simple fucked up, as long as you're active and you're still insane now, you have all the power, mate. Like, if you just say the word, you could have what you wanted. So one thing I genuinely don't get, guys, is the second, I'm being serious, the second ZeWu stopped permanently AWPing and became like a hybrid player, it's blown my mind that these players don't just get together. Like, since you're playing in English now, remember ZeWu used to play in a French team? You had to be French to play with ZeWu. Now that they all speak English, I don't know how there's never been these 4 players in a room, at least 2 or 3 of them, having the convo, why aren't we just playing together? These are the 4 players. ZeWu, NiKo, Simple, and Carrigan. How have those 4, any combo of those 4, never been in a room and gone, bro, why we can just play together? Like, we all speak English and we're all world class. In fact, if I'm everyone except Carrigan, by the way, if any 2 of us get together, isn't it just game over for everyone else? Like, if one of us is on the rifle and one's on the op, don't we just like dominate CS forever? How that's not even like we're doing it now as like a fun move. If I was massive teams, that'd be the move I'd be trying to do. I'd be like planning a whole off season trying to make like the craziest super team with like 2 of these motherfuckers, and then like I say, like a Carrigan or a Lexi B or a Snappy or someone was the agile. I don't know why that isn't a move. I actually am kind of shocked that no one ever does try to make those moves, because the same thing with the Simple one now. Everyone spitballs where he could go. His real problem is he hasn't played, so no one believes in him. But like, if he was still around, like the problem before is you think there's only 2 destinations. If there's really like 20 teams he can go to, we can make way better teams than we've got now. I'm actually shocked that all these pros don't get together, like I say. Wouldn't if I'm NiKo and ZeWu, I'd get sick of people talking shit, going, fuck Simple, let's get together and play, mate. I'll rifle you up, let's fucking go.
Duncan, I think you're just a little bit off the rails there.
I'm just a dreamer. Just a dreamer, mate.
No, not because of that. Because you keep saying, okay, you talked about GMs and like, you know, making the poor decisions and like people being Jonas Gunderson or whatever the fuck his name is. And also we have like, I think they're 70% their fault and 30% actual what the players are choosing their own fucking fault.
Yeah, it's true.
Like,
yeah, NiKo and ZeWu chose to be in these teams. Yeah, it's true.
Just because somebody is shooting very fast doesn't mean that he is good to understand what teammate he needs, like in the team. Sometimes it can happen, but most of the times no.
No, that's
like,
true.
Because they will be manipulated by fucking somebody who speaks a little bit better than the other guy, but then other guy who speaks like worse is a better teammate for you. But then somebody convinced you made a bad choice. That's why you need good GMs. You need people who actually understand, like the good versions of Jonas Gunderson or whatever the fuck, right? Like people who actually know what the fuck is going on and think about like game and the team 2 years ahead of everyone else. We spoke about this fucking Jerry Krause, whatever, you know, remember the Chicago Bulls guy? Like he was the one. That kind of, obviously that kind of vision, I don't know, his personality may not be the best or, you know, how is he described in The Last Dance, but the vision is that's the recipe how you should think about it. Like, and everybody should like think about those things and try to implement those kind of things in their organizations. But right now we are either having Jonas Gundersons and all these fucked up people that are making decisions, or we have players who are not competent enough to make the right decisions for their own team. So it's a lose-lose situation right there. We need more competent people, but sadly for everyone, they are getting shut down. They are getting fucking, you know, ignored in favor of your friends, in favor of the people who tell you the nicest story, instead of looking at, you know, down the road that who can actually fix the team. But it's a whole other subject.
I'll give you 2 reasons, though, why I wouldn't do this move. These are actually real reasons. One, I'm just going to throw this out there. If NiKo joined Vitality Kassad, who would his coach be?
Does it fucking matter?
No, you didn't say the name though, did you? Because you know that's the guy you just fucking had already. How did that work out, Xstars?
But does it matter?
Bro, the Xstars guy signed a massive deal, then like snuck out the back like a fucking thief with the silverware. Like, he just fucking, there wasn't even like a big announcement. There wasn't any reason. He just fucked off. He was like, I am going and they fucked. Any excuse to use that accent, I'm going to do every time.
In this situation, ignore it. Like, ignore, he's like...
I like the way he himself is a coach, Maui, and his advice to NiKo, just ignore the fucking coach. Listen, daft cunt, shut up. Anyway, like, I know. And then here's the other reason. This is like a more serious one, though. I'll tell you one thing I actually do think isn't just media hype, and you actually do have to give Apex credit for this, in my opinion. I actually do believe those stories that have happened many times now, where he's like the fucking Zemu whisperer, and he's the one who has to go to Zemu when he's having one of these games where he's just not doing it, and basically tell him, like, well, I'm not going to be the one who carries now, am I, mate? It's going to have to be you. You're going to have to drop the 30 bomb. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of stories that aren't just... There's times that has been the metaphorical kick up the arse for Zemu. So here's the difference, Kassad. I don't know where NiKo would be on that one. Like, I don't know if... NiKo doesn't seem to me like the greatest people person. I don't know how he'd be on that front, you know?
He's pretty good when it comes to that. But also, you play up his energy as well. You play off his fucking performance too. You play off his vibe and his presence on the
NiKo's
and outside.
NiKo, I'm playing off NiKo's presence. NiKo has a face like a slapped ass 24/7. What are you talking about?
How many conversations you had with NiKo? How many fucking rounds you played with NiKo?
How many rounds have you played with him since it became professional? Yeah, zero. Zero.
More than you.
Zero.
I spent more time on the server than you did.
When he was like 14 years old.
Doesn't fucking matter if he's 14, 15. I know him for fucking 15 years as well. I spend more time.
Okay,
than
come. All right, Donna. All right, Donna. I'll tell you what. You know what?
What do you mean, Donna?
I'll
What do you
flip.
mean, Donna?
I'll tell you what.
I
I'm gonna
spent
flip.
time on the server
This
with
is
him.
my hot take. My hot take is coming up now because I was gonna do it anyway, but I was gonna do it on Maui's behalf. But I'm gonna flip it to myself. You know what? If you're out there, if you want to experiment being gay. Any top player, Rops, fucking, I don't know, Frozen. We'll just say we're dating so then I can wreck cunts like fucking Kassad and Donna. They can just get wrecked all day long. Because every time they pull this and they go, yeah, but I know NiKo, I'll go, I'm fucking Rops. So there we go. Me and Rops pillow talk last night with straight fire about exactly what you're talking. I'll just do that as my move every time and I'll be fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, haha, you've activated my trap card.
Ask me, your fucking rational brain needs to answer me this question, right? Like, you are a normal person, you should answer this question. Who has better knowledge of NiKo's personality and in-game capabilities and out-of-the-game capabilities, me or you?
You, obviously.
Shut the fuck up, then.
No, because that's not how this show works. One, the point of the show isn't who knows them the best. They get to talk. Like, one, it's a talk show. And then two, that's actually completely irrelevant because here's the part you haven't thought through, Kassad. That makes you insanely fucking biased. I don't have a reason to be biased. Now, in fact, the other way around.
It makes me fucking right.
No, it makes you biased,
mate.
It makes you biased.
More facts than you. Yes, it's a fucking
What
talk
facts
show,
you
but
have?
mean if you talk loud enough, doesn't make you right. Still, the person with the proper
That could be a summary of your career, mate. What are you talking
right?
about?
Sorry?
That could be a summary of your career on camera.
Still, I had one.
Also,
and I still have one.
All right, you know what? I'll flip it to you then. Who spent more time on camera making great points, me or you? So then shut the fuck up, bitch. Because in this chat window we're in, this isn't a server. I don't know if you know this, Kassad. We're not in a CS server right now. NiKo isn't even here, mate. There's only me, Maui, who's like my fucking cousin, or my nephew, more like in this analogy. And then you, who's like the special needs kid. I just look after because his mum's shopping. And I'm like, it's all right, just leave him with me. We'll put him on the train set out back. And then we do this show. And then after that, I'm like, right, better let him go to, oh shit, he doesn't get hired anymore. So just bleed, I guess.
It's like, who's going to make a better joke? Then you can take the lead there. But
that is the show. Right,
who knows better about CS?
Kassad, are you ready for a real hot take? This show isn't about analysis at all. They're only watching for my jokes. I don't want to break it to you, but you know this whole thing. Like, there's no one at the end actually going, yeah, full marks. He is right about NiKo. They're just listening, going, that was a great roast he had about Bleed there when he said about going back to Bleed, not being on events. Like, that's what they're listening for. Maybe. But anyway, you've distracted.
It's gonna make you sleep better tonight. When you close your eyes, I'm the one who's right.
Here's what I don't get about this. Right? Here's what I don't get about this. Is go on then, you spin it to me, right? So the same NiKo, who every time he loses, like me, he may as well be like Berlusconi.
How much time
he's doing all these fucking crazy gestures.
You spent with Richard Lewis?
Give me a break,
career. How much time you spent with him? Duncan.
By the way, you can have one thing I would never do. Go on, hit me. Come on, fucking hell, come on.
Listen, if there is like a character analysis of Richard Lewis.
Yep.
And I say one thing.
Yep.
And you say the other is like, no, I know him better. I know how he works with people. I know how he does his job. Who is Who has the better view of that situation, me or you?
You fucked it up there because you noticed.
No, I didn't fuck it up there.
You did.
Like you didn't answer my question.
You made the mistake of saying
no.
You made the mistake of saying who had the better one. Your take isn't better. Your take is whoever is in the lead is the only one. They know everything, and the other one knows nothing and does it. And you even said, "Shut the fuck up."
Duncan, who is right? You didn't answer my question. Like you can just.
By the way, knowing someone better doesn't make you right about everything to do with them. And also, I'm just going to put a real analytical point at the end here, right? I don't give a flying fuck if Kassad played in iNation with NiKo in like 2011. That is irrelevant as to how NiKo would play with Mezzi and ZywOo, players that are in no context like anyone Kassad ever played with for 1 second in his life. So I don't know how you stand behind Liaz going, that's not as good as Simple, makes you better qualified to know if NiKo would work with ZywOo. I don't know that one personally, mate. I feel like you might have pushed the ball a little bit too far.
Better than you know anybody else in the scene. Right?
No, it's everyone in the same. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, all my opinions are invalid until you've given your NiKo take.
No, not all of them. Not all of them. I didn't question your in-game opinions or opinions about the team or any kind of your hot takes. I'm questioning your knowledge to the fucking NiKo's personality in and out of the game. Because
okay, what's the end result? Go on then. Bring it all back. What is the end result? What is the end result? What is the end result? Like, hot take, Kassad knows NiKo better than me. There you go, hot take.
That's not a hot take. That's just a fact.
It's like it's literally not a fact, but okay.
It is a fact.
Right? How would we factually prove that you know more than me? Is there a standardized test as if for knowing NiKo, you daft cunt? Did you do a driver's examination?
We can't do a fucking normal, whatever fucking test you want to do.
Bro, the joke is, you're like all pros. I probably know more about your career than you do. You're probably like, I think it was in 2016 I qualified to that major. And I'm like, 2017 winter, bitch.
That's fucking apples and oranges. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I actually genuinely... You know what's sad? Do you know what's sad?
I spent more time with...
So because you played in a fucking Balkan team, you now know how he would play with every other player of every other nationality. That seems like a bit of an unreasonable statement.
Yeah, you know what else I played with fucking Messi too?
You didn't play with Messi. Don't worry about it.
Yes, I did.
Wait, when did you play with him?
It's a fact.
Which team did you play with Messi in?
I was his coach for a month.
Right, you meant you just worked with him.
Sorry? Yes,
you meant you worked with him. Okay.
It's the same fucking thing.
I mean, by the way, that's a terrible example to give because you played with him 5 seconds after he came out of someone's dick. Like that was years ago now, mate. That was 2020.
Doesn't fucking that's 5 seconds more than you.
Yeah, but here's the mistake. Oh, whatever. You know what? You know why this is such a waste of time? Because actually, by your logic, you fucked up. You actually should say we don't get to have an opinion about any player we're not friends with.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
we don't.
That.
We don't.
No, you get to do it, but you don't get to outrank my opinion because I have more fucking input in that shit than you. Right? That's the same thing the point that you make about the desk.
It's the idea that we get to outrank people's opinions. That's a real take now.
On the desk, Duncan.
You can, sadly. You know, at this rate,
no, I
say
cannot.
That much. No,
I need like 7 more years of broadcast work to say like, oh, listen, I can be up there. But I cannot. So you come to me and say like, listen, this is bad for the fucking desk. This is good. This is bad.
I've got a question for you. I've got one last question. This is the only question on this topic. Are you ready? Who knows more right now about current G2, you or Donna?
Me.
Why were you so... What was the hesitation, bro? What was the hesitation?
Because I was trying to understand like the real question. Is there something, a question? Is there a question? I have
do you currently work with G2? Do you currently work with G2?
No.
Are you at the events for G2?
But I worked with Hunter.
Are you fucking anyone in G2? Probably.
That's 3 out of 5 players.
By the way, I don't mean metaphorically sucking
I worked with Petsa. That's 4 out of 6 fucking players.
And so logically, how long does this last for? Forever?
It lasts until fucking somebody outworks me with them, and then he say I worked more and I know more.
You know what's sad about this? This was going to be a really funny segment, but I actually guarantee, sadly, everyone's going to hate you so bad in the comments, mate. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. It's all good.
Saying me that like I
just put it out. Just put it out there. It's going to age badly.
Why would they hate me? But why would they hate me?
Anyway, Maui, believe it or not, I don't care what he said about that. I still don't think personally NiKo would be a better like IGL vibe-wise than fucking Apex to play with ZywOo. I don't care how many fucking sodas he's had with him. I don't care how many times they skip rope together, whether in Balkan region, I don't know, you push my back, I push. I don't know what they do in those fucking dressing rooms, mate.
This is what you do.
That's irrelevant.
This is exactly what you do. You turn it into like some sort of a stupid joke, right? And then It's completely besides the point. I'm telling you, it has nothing to do with fucking vacations.
Yeah,
It's just about like in-game stuff.
I have hot takes. I have a hot
Go on.
take.
Just
my
obviously,
first hot take-
just don't make
my
it about
first-
NiKo. Obviously, you fucking can't.
My first hot take is you should never talk about complexity ever again because I did coach Grim.
Oh,
briefly.
there we go.
And
It's
I did
over.
coach
that's-
It's
Poppy.
over.
What's up?
I did. Okay, so we both. So who outranks who then? I coach Grim for longer.
Doesn't really matter. I'm not talking about like team-wise. I'm talking individually-wise. Like who did you say, Grim? I don't know fucking shit about Grim. You can fucking tell me stories about him that you know. I can say yes or no. But the thing is, like, I don't know shit about him. And I don't know anything if he's the fucking toxic person or he's the nicest guy, kindest guy, or whatever the fuck he is. I cannot testify to that because you know, Duncan, I have never spoken with him.
What's so weird about that is, it's like he can't conceive of the idea of speculation. It's such a weird take because he does it every other player except the ones that are his friends. It's such a weird angle. This is actually one of the weirdest like heel turns I've ever seen, for real. It's so weird.
What do you mean?
I need to
It's
become
so
Hooksy's
weird.
friend.
I know.
I've learned that I need to become Hooksy's friend. I will become.
What do you mean?
I will become Hooksy's friend and know everything.
30 minutes ago said that, for example, Flames is a better player than Hunter right now? Hunter, who I know. Didn't I say that?
Well, the problem now is we're all scared. You might have been at like a boss and played fucking Nintendo fucking golf with Flames, so we're all scared to have an opinion about it, aren't we? Fucking hell, I don't know.
You don't have to be scared to have an opinion. Your opinion needs to be right based on something. Not just fucking fictional stuff and jokes. It needs to be based on the truth and the facts.
I have a.
It really doesn't. My life is proof of that.
Sadly, I know. That's the thing. Go, Maui.
Okay, I have a couple hot takes still left. I think one is one. Okay, I wore this shirt very purposefully.
Okay.
I wore an NIP t-shirt because right now NIP are ranked 21st in the world. They moved up 22 spots on the HLTV ranking spots. And my hot take is that if I were making a real power ranking today, I would have NIP as the 12th best team in the world. I would have them as the 12th best team in the world. So I think the hot take is that they are 9 slots higher in my own brain ranking, my own power ranking, than on the HLTV rankings. I would put them easily above everybody that's above them between that spot, and then I would actually also put them above Liquid. I would put them above Liquid too. So I would put them as 12th in the world right now. Based off of what they did at Yala Compass and what I know about the individual players, I guess I haven't talked to them. I haven't played with them. I haven't played Wii Sports with them, but I will say that I imagine what I know about their individual ability. I would rank NIP much higher right now. I think that they're the 12th best team in the world.
I guess more people will hate me now. You be ready for the fucking comments, but you are insane. Yes, like how can you fucking make that assumption after Yala Compass? Like, that's ludicrous. That's crazy. That's nonsense. That's fucking gibberish. Like, that's like one event. Maui, just give it another one. Give it 3 events so you can compile the bad and the good signs and the sides that they're playing and see what the map pool and who is good, who isn't, and make a fucking rank list fucking then. Not putting them right now behind Liquid and in front of, like, I don't even know who you put them in front of. I'm scared to ask. Like, yes,
the other teams
did
are
they
not
have good
that
result? Yes, absolutely. I say they did. They did have a good result, and it's a great to see, like, you know, those players coming together really fast and then playing a good event. Yes, but tell me, above who did you place them with, against, or whatever the fuck?
Okay, the teams that obviously passed them just based off of ranking: FlyQuest, MIBR, BetBoom, Furia, Big, Falcons, 9Z, Eternal Fire, and Liquid. I actually think the hardest one to sell right there is Eternal Fire. I think Eternal Fire should be 12th, and then it's mostly just, is NIP better than them? I don't think Liquid is better than Eternal Fire, but the rankings say that today. So
I know that you are impressed, like, by what you saw, and that's fine. Like I said, it's a good result, but like making them top 12 instantly after one event, that's nonsense.
It is a hot take. take, to be fair. All I'll say is this. I think it is a hot take because I wouldn't agree. Like, here's why. I actually do think Nipper's a team with potential, but if we're going to literally compare to Liquid, for example, dude, Liquid's won some actual, like, real land best-of-3 series against top-ranked teams. Like, what did this team do? They won some BO1s and they got, like, the most insanely easy bracket of all time in that fucking Yala Compass. Like, my problem is just, like, that's a small tournament. It's not a massive event of an arena. Like, the issue here is basically this. If we're saying who's actually, like, a better team, if I drop this team, NIP's current lineup, and Team Liquid into a stadium event, I would still probably take Liquid to be better. It's not that far off, though. Put it this way, if the take is just Nips way better than the 21st ranking, I might give you that. Like, I don't know how much better, because I haven't seen enough sample size of the big lands yet. But I lightly fuck with it, but I think you've probably gone too. It's a bit too hot for me. A little bit too hot.
If you said, like, top 20, maybe I would, like, agree, but, like, top 12 like this, for me, there is a lack of star potential there. You know, they got
Wrinkle.
That's one.
Wrinkle's
There's
better.
one. There's one.
Well,
Wrinkle's
okay.
nasty.
I'll rephrase so you people don't get fucking crazy on me again. Like, star rifle potential. All right. So the thing is, Rez is there for like 7 years, and that's like, you know, a saga that never ends. Apparently, like fucking those Spanish TV shows. Like, you know, it's time to move up. Even though he's your boy, he's Swedish and whatever. Like, it seems to be like the same thing like Crims with Fnatic, even though Crims had 10 times better career than him. Also, like, there is a question with Isak and Maxter being a similar role players. They are playing very similar style. So unless somebody can drastically change their play style, it cannot be a thing anymore. So for me, they need like a player. If they want to keep it Swedish, they could have gone for that Nilo guy from Metisport, who is absolutely really fucking good. And apparently he wants to play in an all Swedish team, like team that speaks Swedish. So that was a way to go. I don't know if they tried to get him or not, but whatever it is, he's not there. And I see a ceiling with this team. Yes, honeymoon, start, good, whatever, right? But how far they can go with this lineup? Even though I'm not really sold on Alex and his in-game leading, at least he did good in Movistar Riders. In NIP didn't really show much. Wrinkle is good. He shows like some fucking skill, but like skill-wise, stealing-wise for this team, I don't know. Not to my liking too much.
Let me just make the take a little bit, like something we can reflect on later. By November, this team will hit 12th on the HLTV rankings. There, I totally believe that.
Okay.
It's easy when you have fucking partnership spots and everything guaranteed for you. My grandmother can be fucking top 12 if she wanted to. Like, if you get invited for like to
I mean, I'd give a take, but you know better than me, so.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you think? I mean, like 12. I feel like that's already probably a little bit bold.
It's like a very bold to say as well, because if you fucking your office is based in Saudi Arabia or whatever, and you get invites there, and you get invites to Proling and Blast, and I mean, if you don't make it top 15, you are a fool.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. So let's just up the ante a little bit and say 12.
Yeah, not 12. Just give me
Okay,
something.
how hot does the take have to be? You just
12
said
is pretty
your
good.
first take was G2 should make a single roster.
I'll give you a break.
Like-
I'll give you a break. Tier 1 event, not Yala Compass. Tier 1 event, like IEM, top 4.
Well, they make a top
Is that
4,
good enough?
Maui, by the
No,
way.
a
good
top
enough for you?
4. They could make a
top
they could make a top
four?
8.
Yeah,
They could
top
make a top
four.
8. They could make a top 8.
Yeah,
I'll say that they could make a
again.
top 8. Wouldn't that make you if you're getting
Top
8th
eight.
at like a top tier
8
event?
is not even a fucking playoffs.
Top 6
Top
then, whatever.
eight.
Top 6. Top 6 enough.
Top
Can we,
four.
can we negotiate
Top
to a top
Top
6
six.
finish? Can we get
I
one
wouldn't
top
say
6
that a
finish?
top 12 team. I wouldn't even say a top 10 team in the world is always going to make.
No,
a
but
top
you
6
just
though.
make one though.
Okay.
Just make one. All right. What about within the next like 9 months then or something? Nine months to make
Okay,
one
next
top
9
6
months.
finish.
Yeah, next 9 months they'll make a playoffs of an S tier, a non-Yala Compass
Okay.
S tier. Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you that one because you're all start crying. But the thing is, like, I'll give you that one.
Is there one last hot take, Kassad? Do you have one more for us?
Yes.
on.
I think it's time. I think it's time for
Come on.
Simple to come back to Navi. I think it has been enough.
Okay.
I think this has been enough. We gave them a lot of time after the major run, which was obviously a dream run. I'm not going to call it a fluke because it's the kind of for me, it's like a disrespectful to the success of the major. If it's like a IEM Dallas, I can call it a fluke. But major is a different beast, and it's a dream run. Call it like that. And they have like their fucking moments, which they kind of ran out of. everything calmed down. JL is not the same player that he was on the, not even close to the same form, and like all other players are kind of average at this point. And I think for him, if there was any time for him to step back into the playing role, it should be now. And I don't really care if it's a rifle or not. He should stop. He should start going now, because it will, him going back to the team will raise the morale probably, and give up like kind of a different vibe to the team and kind of jolted them a little bit, so they can just try to get to top 5 again and playing semifinals and finals and whatever. Because right now this is not working. I don't even know who I would remove. Let's say forget about Simple. You need to remove player and just put another one. Who do you remove? Like everybody's talking about Ime. Now the JL is in the picture. Now the Wonderful has stopped fragging. So what do you do? Like So first step is Simple back, and then see what happens after, right?
I will say, even though that, in theory, I think even 3 months ago wouldn't be a hot take, it'd be just what people would want. Obviously, the second they win the major, I do actually think a lot of fans think you should stick with the NAVI lineup. But I also think people have gone way too far the other way on the Simple thing. Bro, I actually thought, surely no one's going to flame him when he stands in for the Falcons one. People are acting like that was like the fucking nail in the coffin that he can ever be a good player again. His one match he's ever played in CS2. So the reason why I find it mad, it probably is a hot take now. Because what I find crazy is this. I don't give a fuck how Simple looked in Falcons, whether he's even played the game. If he comes back to be a full-time pro, the assumption is he is going to put in the hours eventually to get to where he wants to go. First of all, he's probably, by the way, the player with the best work ethic in the history of Counter-Strike. Like, if there's anyone I could believe, as long as he actually signs up for it, is going to do it, it's him. And then also, what I find so weird is this. When you said that thing there, kassad, about how you won't say it's like a fucking fluke or whatever. One thing I'm really bored of, I'm probably going to do a video on this, is pro players just live in some fantasy world. Like, if I was to say to STEWIE2K, like, I think you winning the Boston Major was a fluke. By the way, if one was facts, every fact supports it. You never beat them before or after. You were never close to winning tournaments before or after. You never ever looked as good. Like, there's a million of it. But here's what's funny. Pro players can have dog shit opinions all day long. Do you want to fire one that STEWIE2K told me back in the day? When he was in SK Gaming /MIBR, so admittedly he had a biased reason to say it, that was the year when Simple was goated. Remember 2018, where he was having the craziest affair? STEWIE2K thought Cold Zero was better than Simple at the time. Now, because I'm just a fucking reasonable human, I don't go, you imbecile, you know nothing about the game. I just go, it's a bit of a biased take, but okay, I don't agree, but you can have that take, I guess. So I notice pro players can have shit fucking opinions all day long, and it's somehow it's never an indictment of what they know about the game. But I do think, like, to me, it's a slam dunk you sign Simple again. I actually think, if anything, you're in the best scenario. You need him. He actually now needs you as well, because he's clearly tried the market, and there aren't the teams out that he wanted to be. He probably thought all these big teams were coming from, and it looks like they're not, quite frankly. So I actually think it's in everyone's best interest. And I'll even throw in one last reason that's going to seem really subtle, but I'm serious, right? One of the reasons way back in the day, I actually told NiKo that it was a positive to sign Simple to Team Liquid, even though he clearly was toxic as fuck. So I'll sound weird. Like, what a weird statement. Why would it be a positive if he's toxic? Because I told him the best thing is, bro, at the time in Team Liquid back then was like Complexity now. It was a bunch of like nice players who all had great attitudes, and there was nothing but the problem is, because they were all nice, they were all accepting coming like 9th place and going home again and never having a chance to win. And so what I said is, here's why you sign Simple, mate. Because all the players that turns out don't actually have like the grit to be a top player, they'll have to leave the team. He'll either be so toxic he'll get them kicked, or they'll just leave because they'll break mentally. In a weird way, I also think in this team, actually having Simple, for all his bad qualities, would be a really good motivator. Like, he's not going to accept going to like a pro league and coming like whatever, like 9th place or something stupid. Like, he'd go fucking mental if that happened. If he comes to a tournament and you beat like a top team, then you go out in quarterfinals, he isn't going to go, oh, well, guys, good job, get him. He's going to go, that's actually a good thing. You actually want someone to be like the fire or bleed people's feet. So I actually think it would be a great move, personally. It could go badly, but I would love that move. I'd do it tomorrow. I'd do it immediately. I wouldn't even wait till the next major. Just do it now.
Yeah, I think between the seasons would be the ideal period to do it. The thing is, like, I would take the risk no matter what, because
why not?
Simple is the Michael Jordan of Counter-Strike. Like, I'm not talking about like the titles and all this fucking skill. It's like the work ethic.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was a fucking fanatic. Simple is a fucking fanatic. If he goes to Counter-Strike all in, he's gonna play 16 hours a day.
Yes.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna find you fucking new angles that people are gonna watch demos, that people are gonna copy in the first fucking 3 weeks of he's coming back. That's what he's gonna do. And that's just the way he is. And he's gonna be like that since the moment he retires. Is he going to be good enough? I don't know. With the likes of Mauisnake
Of
right
course.
now and all these fucking players, I don't know. But it's not going to change his desire to win. And you need that guy. You're funny that you mentioned like nice guys, you know, finished like, you know, fucking ninth and they're happy with it. This is what I kept telling to all my teams, including like, let's say the Renegades. I'm going to give you the example of 100 teams in Shanghai or Beijing. Was it 2019 when we lost to Australia in a best of 5? I keep saying the same thing. I don't want this fucking strange sense, this strange feeling of satisfaction of being in the final. Who the fuck cares about that? Who remembers being fucking second?
Yes.
You know, yes, you lost the finals. Yes, whatever, right? You lost this final. I told these guys in Mongolia, like when we played the Mongols in the finals. Same thing. I don't want this like vibe that we're happy with the finals. Like if that settles in your fucking DNA, you are fucking done, mate. I'm not gonna fucking work with you. I'm not gonna have you in my team. I'm not gonna fucking bother with you. So Simple brings that to the teams. Like he's gonna be like,
Yes.
Simple, okay, it means fucking business, it means trophies, it means titles. You know, it doesn't mean like, oh, I'm gonna be fucking playoff team, you know, or whatever the fuck. Like you go for that. It's a risk worth taking. He's already on the contract. He's already, you know, in Navi, so it's not gonna be any kind of fucking hustle.
I've got one
And
for
they
you.
also-
I'll
and he
spin.
has played
I can take this take and spin it into an even spicier hot take. This will be my last one. I actually think their actions and even their interview answers show even Navi agree with me. They might not publicly say it was a fluke, but what they didn't do is exactly what you would do if it wasn't a fluke. Bro, if my team was like the secret sleeper best team, but I just hadn't shown it yet, you know, I had some quarters, some semi. If I actually busted out and won the massive major and things like the players I secretly thought were super good, like Bit and JL, were actually like playing way above the level, I wouldn't then go, hey, you're saying it's a fluke. Well, we're going to try really hard and we're going to keep working and we're going to keep... I'd go, I'm going to win the next tournament. What are you talking about? Mate, I'm number one now, you dickhead. You know what? Everyone who didn't believe me at this tournament, you're going to look even stupider in the next tournament. Because you know what? We're winning Chengdu. And after that, we're winning the next major. In fact, it's the Navi era. Dude, none of them say that. They all are incredibly, like, kind of conservative in their interview and stuff. Dude, even Blade himself, they sort of implied afterwards that the reason it wasn't a fluke is because this is Blade teams and they take months to power up. It's like, I remember thinking when that woman, that, like, Polish woman who's like their sports psychologist said that, I remember thinking, what are you talking about powering up? It's not a Dragon Ball Z episode, you moron. The best team just wins each event. You don't power up over 5 events. Like, yes, you might try and peak and put more effort into the major, but it's not like I said, it's not like a filler episode when you play EPL, like, just getting Super Saiyan. Like, you're just the best already if you're good enough. So, low key, I actually think, even though they'll never admit it, the way they have all very carefully couched their performances, and you notice, by the way, they're not like at Pro League, if they don't believe it was a fluke, they should think Pro League was the end of the world. That was terrible, that run. That wasn't the performance of it. And by the way, this most recent one, Dallas, you were irrelevant. So logically, if you really believed you were the world champions, I think you'd be way harsher than this. Like, I actually think of the teams who have been number one who then lost afterwards. Bro, there are teams who win majors. They'll look fucking depressed going out in a semi-final. This team just looks like, again, they're just happy to be there. That's why, low-key, I actually think Simple being like a massive kick up the arse would be really good for their team.
You
Really?
think Simple would be happy with the quarterfinals?
No
fucking
way.
whatever
Exactly.
tournament?
Yeah.
He would be fucking pissed off. Like, in all these things, like about like people saying it's fluke. If I'm Navi, I don't even pay attention to what people are saying. Like, if I'm winning the match, I'm swinging my dick out, saying like,
absolutely.
yeah, come and fucking get it if you want it. Like, you want to be the number one, come and beat me.
Yeah.
Come and fucking beat me.
I'm with you.
Right?
By the way, I'd even
if you
respect
beat
that.
me,
That
beat
actually would be cool if they did that as well. Yeah, I would respect that.
Yeah. It's just fucking, you know.
You got Alexi B jumping on the table, but he knew he was celebrating the only time that they're going to win that one. Like the most recent EMA video that came out, I think in the last 24 hours was like, we expect playoffs, but our goal is consistency. And then you go step by step into the finals. Eventually, maybe. Like
maybe, bro, he's already won the major and he's still putting maybe on winning like normal tournaments. What are you talking about? That's mental. Yeah. That's mental.
There's no maybe. I'm walking like fucking Conor McGregor into the fucking thing.
I know.
Maybe like, sometimes. Who knows? Not me.
You won the fucking belt. Just fucking act like a
champion. Oh, no, here's another thing. Look,
they fucking take you down.
Admittedly, you can't ever actually do this because he is part of the Navi org and we all know which way your bread's buttered. But I'd even go more gangster. If I was wonderful, I'd go like, I'd love to see Simple play again. It's a shame he'll never play in Navi, though. I'd do some gangster shit like that. I'd be like, see this big green motherfucker, you know nothing about this. Go to another team. Go to another team. I'd do that. I'd be gangster. They're not
mean,
good, sadly.
just let me, to get the point in though, like, because I didn't really respond to Kassad's initial
Yeah,
take
go on.
there. Is that like, I mean, I said it, between the major group stage and the playoffs, I literally said they won't win the major, but they can if they replace emo with simple, and I still believe that. I still believe that in a way, you know, like.
Do you know what's
that,
genius? There's actually a world, they wouldn't obviously, but I'd love the idea there's an alternate world where they listened to Maui. They did put simple in, but they didn't win the major in that world. But because they didn't win, they didn't know that they would have won if they'd have kept like Immer or something. And the joke is they did what Maui said, but he actually inadvertently cost them a major. That would be the timeline I want to see.
See, it cost them a major today, but it might have bought them.
Oh,
like
right,
3
it gets them
trophies
the
in
era.
future.
Yes, it's like they have to give up this one to win the major, right? Yes, okay.
Yeah, because who knows? We're in an era of parity right now, but
Sure.
if Simple came back with dominance,
True.
who knows? It could change. It could have changed.
And also, by the way, I made this point on Snake and Bantam, so it's a similar point. I also just think, like, if I actually am literally any of those 3 players, Monacy, Donk, or Ziwu, I also want simple back, so if I'm number 1, it means even more. You know what I mean? Like, I actually want to know I beat that guy. Like, here's the thing that the Ziwu fans don't get. The last thing you should want is Ziwu to somehow end up being number 1 in a year where Simple doesn't play at all. That's terrible for your narrative. You want him to be number 1 when Simple's trying his hardest and he just beats him. That's the cool story. Because, by the way, I can tell you if you're Monacy, that's going to make being number 1 awesome this year. You know, Ziwu was going hard. He just didn't make it in that analogy, you know.